filled clips some viewers may find disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, Creepsters! Welcome to Swannie's Creepshow. It's your nerdy vamp pinup next door, Swannie. Let me introduce you to our next guest. I just recently, I haven't met her in person, but I've met her through her podcast, Glamorous Pink Riders. Please give a warm welcome to CeCe Glamour.
Hello, everyone. It is actually an honor to be on your show since you've been on mine twice.
Right?
So it's definitely a very different to be on this side of the podcast rather on your side of the podcast hosting.
Right. Yeah, it's a little different, isn't it?
Yes.
So, CeCe, you've got like a big Halloween bash coming up. Tell us about that.
Yes. So in Auburn, Georgia, October 26th, we are doing the Pharaohs Monster Bash car show, pinup contest, and also kids Halloween contest. And trunk or treat.
That's a lot. You got your hands full, sounds like.
Yes. And we just finished making the prizes actually for the kids, which I think any parent who is coming is going to love this because the prizes for the first two are winners. So for the kids contest is going to get a little cute crown, but also a vintage styled trick or treat bucket with candy.
Oh, that'll be cool. That sounds awesome.
And it's good candy. Not that I may or may not have tried it and sampled some of it while playing it.
Are you saying the candy might need to be replenished between now and then?
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe just a little bit. Yeah.
But it's going to be definitely really fun. And we're actually going to put little lights inside of the trick or treat bucket since it's a pumpkin to kind of give it that like jack-o'-lantern look.
Oh yeah.
But it's going to be very fun. The kids will actually go first, and then we'll have the pinups go second. And so the theme for that is Universal monsters, or more so just your usual Halloween theme. So you can go more pinup with it, or you can go straight monster with it. I've kind of been giving people hints of just different monster high dolls, so nobody really repeats the same several lineups of Universal monsters.
Right.
And I'm excited to host. I'll be hosting it actually as a Lucille Ball themed vampire. Quite the combo.
There you go. I can't wait to see that costume.
It was either that or I was thinking a very pinup style Beetlejuice, but I just got new vampire things and I really want to use them.
Well, you could do both. You could do like a vampire Beetlejuice pinup, just saying.
Exactly.
Just kind of throwing that out there at you.
That, you know what? That actually would be really cool just to see that. I think people would love it. It's going to be I can already tell it's going to be a fun day. I have no idea how many cars we're going to have out, but we also have guest judges, which is just our judges dressed as different iconic characters. So we'll have Elvira, we'll have a Rockabilly Frankenstein, and one of the Blues Brothers.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Of course, that's kind of a weird combo. I mean, Elvira and a Rockabilly Frankenstein, okay, that goes together. But then you throw in randomly a Blues Brother, it's like, are you at the wrong party?
We're on a mission from God.
Like, you're like, okay, that makes sense. They were like Blues Brothers. You're just like, okay, yep. You know what? Cool. But the cool treat with that is we're actually going to have our winners for the kids contest will crown our queen, our first and second runner for the pinup contest.
Oh, well, that'll be fun. So it's always fun when you do stuff with littles, especially this time of year. So I actually used to help in the town I live in. I used to help organize the big trunk or treat on the town square. So, yeah, I haven't done that in several years. So I kind of got out of that because, I kind of got, I don't know, nostalgic and everything. I kind of missed giving out candy at my house instead of, having, to decorate up my car and, hand out candy at the square where you've got like 1,000 children at least, lined up. Whereas I was like, I kind of miss giving it out at my house. So I think I'm just going to, stick to my house this year. And then I don't get as many trick-or-treaters. So unfortunately, because everybody goes to the trunk-or-treats, hardly anybody goes to anybody's houses anymore, which I can kind of understand because, unfortunately, the world we live in now, it's not like it was when I was a child. And I'm sure when you were a child, it's not the same anymore, unfortunately.
And then too, I think with like COVID, trick-or-treating really died out. Because if you
Yeah.
tried to trick-or-treat during COVID was odd. Because I was a Ghostbuster, my dog was a Ghostbuster, and we were trying to hand out candy to kids. And they would just like, they wouldn't even say trick-or-treat. They just look at you like
standing as far away, holding their bucket out as far as they could. Yeah.
you're
So it's like, just chunk the candy in the bucket,
It's like if
kind of like Buffalo Bill, put the lotion in the basket,
Now he places the lotion in the basket.
Please. Please. I want to go home, please. Please.
It places the lotion in the basket.
I want to see my mommy. Please, no. I want to see my... I want to see
Put the fucking lotion in the basket!
It's like if it hits you in the head, good luck, peace. You can keep it. It's yours.
I don't know. I think it's kind of coming back though, because I think a lot of people are like myself, are kind of nostalgic. They want to get back to how things were before the world got weird. Is the nice way to saying it,
Exactly, especially with, and I feel like this year there's going to be a lot of cool costumes with kids being Wednesday. I'm going to say a lot of, what is that girl's name? I know her last name was Ortega. She just played Astrid. So you're going to have Wednesday. It's going to be a whole lineup of just
Jenna Ortega. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's going to be a whole lineup of just all of her outfits from her different shows for Halloween. You're going to have probably Wednesdays and Astrid.
I think you're going to see a lot of Astrid. I think you're going to see a lot of Lydia's. I think you're going to see a lot of Beetlejuice's. And I think you're going to see, especially at adult Halloween parties, I think you're going to see a lot of people, especially women, dressed up as Beetlejuice's first wife that's played by Monica Bellucci.
Yes.
So I think you're going to see a lot of that. So
I'm actually surprised because, of course, recently we had Dragon Con pass. That is actually a character I'm surprised we did not see Dragon Con, but there was a lot of Beetlejuice, which is usual, a lot of Beetlejuices. They had one hotel Beetlejuice themed, but I guess everybody didn't really know like what her character was going to be like. So it was kind of like,
right.
The outfit.
Yeah. Because the movie just came out a couple of weeks ago. So, I don't know when that, con was, but if the movie hadn't been released at that time, I'm pretty sure, you weren't going to see it at that time unless somebody was just a big Monica Bellucci fan. So
and they went, that's my next project.
Right.
I know we had a couple of Lisa Frankensteins walking around.
Yeah. And that's a movie, I was talking about, on another episode with one of my other guests, we were talking about like the different iterations of Frankenstein. And that was one we actually forgot to mention until like after we got through recording. We're like, oh, we forgot to mention that. Of course, I hadn't seen it yet, so it wasn't exactly fresh in my mind. So, yeah.
The best way to describe Lisa Frankenstein is if you like the movie Heathers, but you wanted to get creepier.
Oh, God.
Like if you thought Heathers couldn't get worse as far as being slightly creepy, here's Lisa Frankenstein.
And see, Heathers is like one of my favorite, high school movies. It and Jawbreaker. So I'm actually planning on doing a Jawbreaker theme type photo shoot soon. I was going to do it this past weekend, and we had that hurricane cyclone come through, and it was just like torrential rain here. And I was like, well, we're not doing it this weekend. So hopefully I'll get to do it here within the next few weeks.
Yeah.
So,
I definitely get that. There was supposed to be a contest that was happening. It was on like the county line of Atlanta and Chattanooga. We had to reschedule that, which was it went from being what was it? That same I believe it was like the same weekend to going, okay, we'll be November 9th. So it was like so I definitely we had some rain here in Georgia, but I know you guys had like a lot of rain.
oh yeah, because it came right up the Gulf through Louisiana and it just went north. And of course, I'm in southeast Missouri, so we got hit hard. So I don't even think St. Louis got hit as hard as we did because it like went east before it got that far north. So
Wow.
yeah,
I know here they were like, oh, it's gonna rain the whole entire weekend. It rained, but it rained, I think, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday it was just dreary and you just kind of waited for the rain to come. But on Saturday it was pouring down. And of course, for here, speaking of course, Halloween coming around the corner, Fright Fest opened up here in Georgia, and they were really like they were flat out rain or shine. Like they
oh
kept
yeah. Well, and most, haunted attractions like that, they are like rain or shine. There's one that's not too far from me. It's in St. Francis, Arkansas. It's called Horror in the Hollow. And they're like, we're rain or shine unless it's like torrential, and then no, because it's too muddy and people get stuck in the mud because you basically where you park in the middle of a field. So because I mean it is out in the middle of nowhere. You're like driving out there and you're going, am I going the right way? And I'm like, I'm starting to hear banjos playing, it's like
at the right place, right?
Man, I think they have their opening weekend. Actually, this coming weekend, of course, when this airs, it'll be like a month after. But like this coming weekend, like September 21st or 22nd is like their opening night. So
Wow, I know pretty soon we have here we'll have Netherworld, which is way beyond both Six Flags and Universal Halloween Horror Nights. Like that is if you love horror movies, if you ever thought, I want to know what it would feel like to have every nightmare I've ever thought of come true, that is the place to go.
Welcome to hell, motherfucker!
oh wow.
People make it, I think they did like The Walking Dead, and they have a actual horror museum of like just different props. They have I think they have one of the original puppets from Saw in there. I know they have everything, but they
Oh,
go
wow.
up I gotta say the houses they have are intense.
I had to check that out. Of course, I'm kind of excited about, and it's not too far from me either. It's actually a couple hours from me. Talon Falls, which is in Kentucky. So, and it's supposed to be a big haunted attraction, and I have never been. I can never, because I don't like going to things like that by myself. It's not that I'm a scaredy cat. It's just more fun to go with people instead of going by yourself. So, and I can never get anybody to go with me. Hopefully I can get some people to go with me this year because I really want to go this year. So, and I'm planning on going to Six Flags in St. Louis haunted attraction. Plus they have a big haunted thing with like a local brewery there as well, so that they've turned into like a haunted house. So so I'm planning on doing that here next month. So
ours, they're like they have, of course, with any kind of attraction, they'll have like their big houses to pitch, and ours was Saw and Stranger Things, which there's nothing wrong with either of them because Stranger Things is filmed here, but like we got into a contract where we have to be stuck with for like 5 years.
oh wow.
So they were like, we have the Saw house. And they're just like, is it a new Saw? It's the Saw house from last year. And so we're all just kind of like looking at it like, well, it could have been vampires, but y'all chose Saw.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can always move stuff around and, come up with different, traps, Saw traps, that aren't in the movies. It kind of gives everybody kind of unique
you know,
surprise. Yeah.
and I'm sitting there like, well, I'm like, you know what? There's so many Saw movies, y'all can just switch them out every year. Like it can just be a new Saw.
And I'm just gonna say this since we brought up the Saw series and everything. The first two are good, but after that, it's just kind of like, yeah. The first two actually have a story with them. The others, after that are just kind of repetitive of the same movie. Even though I thought Spiral with Chris Rock was pretty decent. I thought that was decent. I know a lot of people didn't like it because people weren't used to seeing Chris Rock in like a very serious role because everybody's used to him being a comedian. But I thought he was great, and I thought it was great. And so
like, and it's really cool because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he wrote the movie, like wrote some of the script because he's a huge Saw fan.
I don't know if he did or not. I had to look that up. So
as well as don't quote us. I don't quite remember. I know he was a huge Saw fan, and he was like, I really want to do this. What is it? There's another, I forgot the name of it, but it's another movie, and it's basically like vampires. It's a really funny movie. It's vampires, and was it Compton, I think? If Snoop Dogg is in it as a vampire.
Oh yes. Day Shift.
Yes.
I saw that and I loved it with Jamie Foxx. Yeah.
That was one movie that I feel like when you like, if you were to talk about it to other people, they just like what, but like people who actually watch a lot of just different like horror movies or just different weird things that you find on Netflix because like that looks interesting.
Well, and I'll be honest, I put that on thinking it wasn't going to be good. I thought, I was in one of those moods. I was like, I'll watch some B-grade horror movie, just for the fun of it. And that's what I was thinking it was going to be like. And I was actually pleasantly surprised. I was pleasantly surprised at how good it was.
It really made you go, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Actually. But it had just so many people you just wouldn't expect to like have this type of like movie come out of it. Because then you have like Snoop Dogg, who's a vampire hunter, and you're like,
right. You're going, okay, this is not going to be good. It can't be good. Yeah.
You're like, this is kind of.
I'm like, it'll probably be fun, but it's not going to be good. It's kind of like the Leprechaun movies. They're fun to watch, but they're not good.
Is that me gold?
What the hell are you?
I'm a leprechaun, me dear.
Like you only watch them because you thought about them in that moment. And after that, you're like, I have not thought about this movie, and I think we're okay.
Right. Yeah, it's one of those, like I say, just one of those fun horror movies to put on that you're bored, you don't have anything else to watch. So you're like, well, here, we'll just watch this. Sometimes you can make a drinking game out of it with some of these movies. So I don't recommend, saying, where's my gold with doing a shot every time he says that, because then you end up in the hospital. Not that I know about that from personal experience or anything. I don't, but I've heard stories.
I feel like for people who drink, it would be fun, but I feel like you die by the time the movie ends. Once he says you'll float too, or every time someone says you'll float too. I think people would die when Georgie pops up and just starts saying you'll float too.
Hiya, Georgie. You're
like, I gotta admit, I love it. What was it? I think that was my 17th birthday party theme was it. And we got a Pennywise cake.
Oh my gosh.
It's it. I had an unofficial book club, and our book that we read was it, and I was the only one that finished it because everybody else was like, it's too long. And I'm saying, like, you guys had me get this book. I have read this.
It is a long book. It is a long book, and there are some things in it I think could have been left out. I'm like, Stephen King, are you okay? You need
to talk to somebody, buddy.
Right. It's actually, I don't think it's one of the scarier Stephen King books. Like I was talking on one of my past episodes, Salem's Lot, which they're releasing a new one on Max in October, is actually the scariest Stephen King book, in my opinion. Now, I know some people will probably disagree with me on that, but in my opinion, I think that is the scariest Stephen King novel. And the original, I think it was Tobe Hooper that directed the original miniseries that came out in like the early 80s. That just kind of scarred me for life. Like I cannot look out a window at nighttime now because of that movie and because of the book, because it was in the book as well.
Like,
So,
no. Yeah, I would say that was a good one. Like, I think also The Shining. I would say The Shining as a movie is like really funny, especially when you kind of remember like how it's all made as a book, and you actually have to witness like Jack go more insane as the chapters go.
yes.
Maybe
And
just
in my opinion, you know, a lot of people talk about, you know, with the film, of course, Stanley Kubrick's a genius, and Stephen King didn't like the original film, but I think Stanley Kubrick, you know, because there's some things you can't do on film that you can with a book. And, you know, and of course, early 80s, they didn't have that much CGI, and it wasn't good CGI at that. So there was a lot of stuff they were limited to doing. But like the scariest thing to me in The Shining, in the movie, is where Shelley Duvall, you know, finds the manuscript and she's going through it, and all it says is all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And not only in that moment do you realize he has gone totally insane, but how long he has been going totally insane.
How do you like it?
Yeah.
but it was like
that's terrifying,
yeah,
you know.
exactly, because like you're sitting here thinking, okay, he's written you're just seeing all of that written, you're just like, oh,
Right.
we're gonna put this in.
Right. Because you know it's the hotel doing it and everything. It's making everything happen, but you think it's just started to affect him recently, you know, like just a few days before that point. Like, no, it's been doing it the entire time they've been there. So, yeah.
And that's what I love about the movie. It gives that aspect. And then the book, you realize that like the hotel is calling him in the book, and he actually, you know, of course, at the ending of the movie, we see he's connected to it, but you actually realize even in the beginning, like there's something off about him. You're like, or he just has anger issues. But the movie just went straight up. He's insane. They just really want you to know off the bat, he's insane. There is nothing sane about this man. He is going to spend his money on a hotel no one's been to in years and take his family to a snowy place by themselves.
Right. Well, and like in Dr. Sleep, the sequel, it kind of delves more into that because you realize that, you know, Danny wasn't the only one born with the ability to shine. He's just the only one in that family born to realize that he has the ability to shine. Whereas that's how Jack got, you know, attracted to the hotel, was because he does have the ability. He just never realized it. So.
And that was I love the movie Doctor Sleep. Like it was such a good like closure of different plot holes in the movie, and it was just like, here's all the questions we've had. And I like that we actually got to see that Danny never really like recovered from coming back from
Oh yeah.
the hotel, which seeing a rotting naked woman, I don't think anybody would recover the same way.
No. Well, and your dad just going completely insane and, murdering the only person you've ever known to have the same psychic ability as yourself. You watch him murder him with an axe, I mean, that sticks with you, But Rebecca Ferguson, as Rose the Hat, she was just great, and I love how they did the shot, like towards the end when, she's coming up the stairs and he's standing there with the axe, and it was kind of like a play on the whole, give me the bat, Wendy.
Has it ever occurred to you? Has it?
Stay away from me.
Why?
I just want to go back to my room.
Why?
I'm very confused. I just need a chance to think things over.
You've had your whole fucking life to think things over. What good's a few minutes more gonna do you now?
Stay away from me. Please. Don't hurt me.
I'm not gonna hurt you.
Stay away from me.
Wendy.
Stay away.
Darling, light of my life. I'm not gonna hurt you. You didn't let me finish my sentence. I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in. I'm gonna bash them right the fuck in.
Stay away from me. Don't hurt me.
I'm not gonna hurt you.
Stay away from me. Stay away. Please.
Stop swinging the bat.
Stay away from me.
Put the bat down, Wendy.
Stop it.
Wendy, give me the bat.
Please. Stay away.
Give me the bat.
Stop it.
Give me the bat.
Stay away.
Stop swinging the bat.
Please stop.
Give me the bat,
Stay away.
Wendy.
Stay.
Give me the bat. Give me the bat. Ah, God damn!
I see the grease all over you. You don't shine quite the same. Growing up spoils that, I guess. Seriously, handsome, where have you been hiding? I can make you an offer. An offer I rarely make.
Oh, yeah? I can't wait.
Such a gifted boy, hiding his light under a bushel for so long. You could live a long, long time, live well too. Indulge yourself. No consequences. No hangovers. Eat well. Live long.
You must be lonely, being the last one. I mean, the last one in the world.
Sweetie, I'm not the last. Far from it. I'm just the prettiest.
I assume you know my answer.
Pity. So are we doing this or not?
And it was kind of like where he's now. It's like you see him about to go and be insane as his dad, and you see him kind of get the Sandy back. That's like his mom. It's like this good split of both. Like they did really good with that movie, and I know they also put some connections to both Doctor Sleep and also The Shining in the TV show Castle Rock, where I think it's a character. She's either the great granddaughter of Jack or something. They actually managed to make a character in that show that was related to the Torrances, and her prized possession is the axe.
Oh wow. See, I've never seen that show. So I have to check that out.
Yeah. That show has so it's a whole show just made out of every Stephen King's book, and the like all the characters. It's the characters or storylines all live in that town. So you have
Well, yeah, because the town of Castle Rock plays a big, part in a lot of the novels, like Needful Things, Stand by Me, which was based on the short story The Body. There's a couple of more I can't think off the top of my head, but yeah.
Yeah, like that show is really cool. And then you have Bill Skarsgård playing like the prisoner that's supposed to be like still left in Shawshank, I believe. They really did good at like picking out the different. I think one of the characters has the car Christine.
Oh wow.
And I'm sitting here like, I thought we crunched her up at the end.
Yeah, but you got to realize she shows up in the book.
Yep.
Remember
right.
Pennywise was like cruising around in the book.
Cruising around. Like, remember that car and Christine? I got
it. Right. And I love that about King's, books and everything, because there's like little nods to other stories. Like in the book Carrie, like there's a nod to one of the characters from Stand By Me. Yeah, so and then Needful Things and Dark Half are kind of connected because of the Sheriff Pangborn. In that it's same character. So
and The Shining connects with it because I cannot think of his name, but of course the kid that has the Shining.
Chef. Yeah, the chef was in it.
Yeah, but he's friends with what was it? He was in the military or friends with like Mike Hanlon's
grandfather.
Grandfather. It was his grandfather friends with, which is really cool to kind of have that tie. So it's like you kind of realize that like Mike, so it kind of has a hint that Mike actually might have a bit of The Shining, but
Right. Well, and also, the chef, of course, I'm like you, I can't think of his name right now. Exactly. But he was at the site of the big bar fire, the big nightclub fire, that Pennywise helped start, basically. So.
And then I forgot what other, is it Dark Tower where they mention Richie? I think it's Richie and Beverly Marsh are supposed to be in the part dancing the records, I think.
I haven't read all the Dark Tower novels, so I don't know for sure.
But I know there's some they get mentioned
somewhere. And
somewhere.
It's been a while since I've read the ones I have read. So because I'm so busy, I don't get time to like sit down and like read. So yeah.
I'm like, I remember so I know somebody somewhere mentioned that, and then Stranger Things actually mentioned that Derry's not too far from Hawkins. And one of the characters, which we had him for a short-lived time, rest in peace, Bob. But he was haunted by Pennywise as a kid.
Yeah. That would make a lot of sense, though, because, with Stranger Things, they do little nods like that, and they have done, like, a lot of nods towards Stephen King's novels, especially, like, with the Upside Down. It's kind of like the other universe in the Dark Tower series. So if you think about it, especially with some of the creatures you see, because you see those same creatures in, like, the movie The Mist.
Yep.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool, like they all connect, and it's also funny because, of course, with having you have the same actor, Finn, who plays Richie in there, so it's kind of like, okay, we see what you guys are pointing that out. We got it.
Right.
But I love how they like cast, and they were just like, hey, you've got an 80s looking face. How would you like to be in it? And now he's in Ghostbusters.
Right.
And he's doing really good in Ghostbusters. The only question that I have with that series, with the newer series, with the franchise that they have now, is who in the world is the mom to Egon's kids?
That's what I always, because I was like, trying to figure out, okay, when they were like in the trailer before you saw the new movie Afterlife, you're like, okay, is Annie Potts her mom by chance? Because her and Egon had a thing for a little bit. Yeah, I'm kind of like you. Who's your mom? You know.
And then you realize
how do you fit into the timeline here? You know,
you realize you're like, and then you go, okay, well, Janine actually was having a thing with Lewis in the second movie, and then Egon.
But see, she had a big thing with Egon in the first movie.
Yeah, and then it was like
she was chasing after Egon in the first movie, and towards the end, she like runs up to him and hugs him. So, but then the next movie they're not together.
So it's like, who is one of those? Who is your mom? Because Egon wouldn't just have random children.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say it's the mood slime from the second movie. The mood slime.
That would be quite a twist in the next film. If they do another one, that would be quite the twist. My mom was mood slime. No wonder she was so jaded in the afterlife. So
oh, that would be hilarious. I feel like it needs to be Ray who would just be like, this is your mom and it's just the mood slime in the toaster.
Because I mean, in the second one, they're like, "You're not sleeping with it, are you?" And they get like super quiet, like And
they pan to Egon. Egon.
You mean this stuff actually feeds on bad vibes?
Like a cop in a donut factory.
We've been running tests to see if we can get an equally strong positive reaction.
What kind of test? Well, we sing to it and we talk to it and say supportive, nurturing things to it.
You're not sleeping with it, are you, Ray?
Oh, you. It's always the quiet ones.
You hound.
How about the kinetic test?
Like, I'm like, and that's my favorite character. I'm just like, Egon, no. Right. That is one franchise, and I'm like, the fact that was marketed towards kids, and then you get older and you hear all the jokes in it again, and you're like,
well, and I mean, that's like a lot of movies from the 80s. You're going, why did our parents let us watch this? Oh my God. And it's like Disney movies too, going back and watching some of the Disney films as an adult, you're going, that's in a Disney, it's like
Cars, like the movie Cars, and you realize when they have the headlights on, they're flashing like the McQueen.
Yeah. Well, it's like Beauty and the Beast. What was the feather duster in the candelabra doing behind the curtain there, eh? It's like
I still find it funny though that in Beauty and the Beast, like she is not impressed when the Beast turns into Adam. She's like, "Oh yay!"
I would have been like, "Can you turn back? I liked you. You were cuter before. Like, what happened?"
She looks at him. She's like. Because she's like, oh my God, the beast. She's like, oh my God, you're some man. You are just
I mean, I got a thing for beards. So, it's kind of like, I was kind of the same way. I was like, can you turn back? You're a lot cuter before. It's kind of like the age-old thing, you date a guy with a beard and he shaves and everything. Now you're dating Pee Wee Herman, but, Pee Wee.
That's like the what is it? There's a new hilariously
rest in peace, Paul Rubens. Okay, we love Paul Rubens, but I thought he looked better in Buffy the Vampire Slayer with the whole goatee.
Oh, give me a break! You ruined my new jacket. Kill him a lot.
So he looks not like how he usually looks.
Right.
That's what happened even during Elvis week. They have a new part of the movie exhibit where they've added the movie Charo, and that's where he had a beard. And so you have all the other movies around where there's no beard. Everyone's like, who's this guy in the museum? And the tour guide said to go, that's also Elvis. And people wouldn't believe it for like the whole time.
Oh no.
They were like, no.
That's not Elvis.
Like that's some guy in a beard that you put in the museum. I don't know how many of y'all have not. None of y'all have been graced with seeing the picture of him with the.
Well, I mean, everybody, kind of to be fair, that's not like one of the main pictures you see of him. You usually see like the Gold LeMay Elvis, like when he was super young, first starting out, and then like the Hawaii older Elvis. It's like.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, people are not used to seeing Elvis with a beard. I have to agree with that, you know.
It's an experience. I love that movie, but it is an experience. You're like, oh, right, right. You're watching the movie. Right. That is true though. The gold lame, and I laugh at that because I've just now have a gold lame pinup outfit. So off the gold lame suit. I figured I was like, I haven't
see
seen
when you perform next year at Elvis Week and everything, you should wear that.
That's the plan.
Okay.
Be like all of you guys have the suits. I have. There were so many gold lame suits.
Oh yeah, because that's like the main one that everybody does. Yeah. It's either that or the white suit. Yeah, the white Hawaiian. Yeah, with the cape. Yeah. So
that was the funniest thing. They had the big, of course, the ETA competition. You'd see like two dudes in the gold lame, or one would have the blazer on, and the other one's got the full suit on, and it'd be like, all right, jumpsuits. Like we only had 350s ones, and everybody else was like, eagle suit. I was like, this man has like about 5,000 jumpsuits to choose from. They were like, eagle suit. I'm like, okay.
Have you ever seen the movie with Nick Cage? It's not a horror movie, but I think it's called Honeymoon in Vegas with him and Sarah Jessica Parker, where they're like on the plane going to like skydive, and it's like a whole line of Elvises, and they're all like they're all dressed the same. Yeah.
I saw the poster. I actually saw the poster of it. I was like, this looks like this would be hilarious. And you go to Elvis Week for the whole week, and then you're like, I'm suddenly living the cover. You turn and you're like, okay, you could tell who was a singer and which ones were just impersonators by the sideburns.
Right.
And you could go, okay, you impersonate because those are really thick, and then go, okay, you are a tribute artist. It was funny. You're like, you just happen to have sideburns in the dead heat of summer. Why?
Right. Right.
That was a fun time. I learned a lot of information. Like I said, like it was really funny. They actually talked about the piano, and that's when I had messaged. Was like, so they are currently talking about one of your relatives at like during the archives.
And for those that don't know, for those that are watching, my uncle, my mom's brother, tunes the pianos at Graceland. So this is what she's referring to. So yeah.
But I'm like, they had, man, the questions they had in that archive. It was like the archives, like 101 type of panel that they had at 10:30 a.m. in the morning. I thought that we as the younger fans had some very interesting questions. This lady's like 75 or something years, like she's like 70 something years old, and she raises her hand. Angie goes, yes. And she's like, I just want to, have you found like anything special in his dresser and his bedroom, like any type of like special things? And she was like, and it took her to register what she's asking. She's like, oh, if you're talking, well, if it would be in your nightstand, it probably was in his, and it is in a special room in the archives. And I'm sitting here like, this lady did not just ask what I think she asked at 10:30 a.m. Here we are.
Like, why? You know,
like this is on your mind.
The older fans, the ones that were alive when Elvis was alive. My mom is one of them. They're special. They are. And that's like, I'll show you how big a fan my mother is. My initials are LVS. She claims she did not do that on purpose. I believe she did. So, yeah.
So you knew what you were doing when you named me, you know it.
And I got questions, since you were at Graceland and everything. Yeah. And you did get to tour a lot of the grounds and get to see a lot of the house that I'm sure is not part of the regular tour. Did you see Elvis's ghost by chance? Because there's rumors that you're supposed to be able to see it, sometime.
Oh yeah.
And since this is Swannie's Creepshow, we got to talk about stuff like that on here. So
I also learned that not only do you see his ghost, but there are other ones there because it is a part of the gate's wall on the left side of the house is actually supposed to be a portal. So It's not just Elvis that is in the building.
They're here.
Oh wow.
He's like, so even ghosts go, I want to go on a Graceland vacation. That should tell you how popular the house is if it's a portal for ghosts to go, I want to visit.
Well, it's kind of like in Beetlejuice. Hey, there goes Elvis,
The ghosts are like, where? Somewhere there is a fan who has traveled on to the great beyond through the portal and is like, I finally get to meet you. And it's like, you lucky ghost. But yes, I have seen his ghost. Surprisingly, not at Graceland, but at Tupelo, which of course is his birth, is his
his birth home, yeah.
Oh yeah, near the Tupelo. It was actually near the Tupelo statue that was to commemorate him performing there, and he was wearing the same exact outfit from the statue. And I just looked over and was like, okay, he's here. I'm not gonna say anything because I was the only person walking outside. I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything and make this weird. So I just went outside and was like, hi, this is happening. And then I looked back and he just disappeared. But in the house, you feel a lot. There have been people who have said the jungle room has a lot of energy in there where I've know one lady actually got a picture, and lo and behold, not Photoshop, lo and behold, in the corner, there is a ghost-like silhouette. And he actually is wearing the jumpsuit, and he was just standing in, his ghost is just standing in the jungle room. Some have gotten a picture of his silhouette in the bathroom because they do say that at night as they're closing up, you can actually hear him like stumbling around in his bedroom. His mother Gladys is usually heard in the attic. But he'll also move. This is a very true thing. He will move stuff. And I do mean it doesn't even have to be stuff in his house. Let's say I went for the birthday weekend and he took my pink Sharpie, and then this time he took my keys and they were in front of Lamby's. And I knew it was him because who else would put him in front of his favorite clothing store in Memphis? So, and then during the vigil, he blew up my candles, so that was really fun. We finally got it to light up, basically near where he was, buried in the meditation garden. We got to light up, and then as soon as we leave out, it was like somebody blew it out, and I just look towards towards the bedroom window, and I just go, "We just got it to light. Really? You're just gonna blow up my candles?" And it's not just, it was really sweet. I still have the candle and it was really sweet. But even the plane, the Lisa Marie, you actually feel a bit of Elvis there in a very interesting way, which is usually in his bedroom area of the plane, which is it's fun because you do have a lot of fans who are protective about that. And they're like, oh, Elvis must have got a lot of sleep. And I'm like, yeah, on a plane with a bed with a man who barely went to sleep. Yeah. Okay.
I don't think he was sleeping, or like not that kind of sleeping. But
I was like,
man did have a lot of groupies, let's be honest,
I'm like, and it's like, if it warms your heart to say that he was falling asleep on the plane, I'll let you have it.
Right.
Oh no. Why do you have a full king size bed mattress on a plane? But it looks so nice. It looks so comfortable.
I'm sure it was.
I like he has like a little library on one side. There's a TV on the side. I'm just in here like, okay, suspicious.
Well, and I also wonder because you mentioned the jungle room, and that was actually supposed to be Lisa Marie's room, and that's why he decorated it like that, because that's what Lisa Marie wanted. I'm just curious, she just passed away recently. I'm just curious if there's more activity now in that room with her having recently passed away and it being her room. And also she's buried on the grounds with Elvis as well. So
I would say so far I don't want to say at all, but I would probably say not yet, but you still do have it's like a somber moment going into the jungle room because of course Lisa loved that room, and they actually have her teddy bear in her favorite chair, and it's propped the same way as it always would be when she would lay in there. And Christmas they have during the Christmas where they have all of her presents. But I feel like probably there definitely is, and no one's really caught it yet, but I feel like there's definitely, like you said, Lisa's there, so I definitely feel like at most I feel like strongly probably when they close and everything, it has that feeling that you probably would be able to hear Lisa laughing with her dad, because I know Lisa would say when she was there, he'd play the piano the pianos would play by itself. She'd hear him laughing or talking and stuff like that. And it's really true, because you can a lot of the employees will tell you, you can actually hear the pianos playing sometimes in the racquetball room, which of course was the last piano he played on. Sometimes in the living room it'll play. But if I really had to say a room that has a lot of activity, it's actually his mom's room that feels the heaviest. And of course, it's really funny, because what a lot of people don't realize is, even though yes, you do have the iconic bedroom that was his, he slept in his mom's bedroom more than he did his own, when they first got the house. So
Right.
you still have that heaviness. You kind of can feel the heaviness just standing in front of that room of, the absence of Gladys, but probably even just some of his like grief is like still in there. And with her, all of her original clothes in her closet are in there, and then all of like her original belongings are still in there. So it's kind of like it's very somber. Some people don't really feel anything in there, but you can definitely tell that Gladys very much still lingers and visits in there. You can kind of feel it.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, I've had friends that have gone to Graceland. I've been to Graceland, I think, once or twice, and I've never seen anything, but I know some friends of mine have. So, of course, I don't talk to my uncle about going to Graceland all that much, so I don't know if he's seen anything, tuning the pianos, but I know some friends have. So I just wondered if you have or not, because I know some people have seen like activity around the grounds. So,
and of course you have the stairs. The stairs is the iconic activity. As soon as you walk in, your eyes just go, you can almost feel him.
It's almost like you see him at the top of the stairs.
Yes.
And
it has never felt.
And I have had that experience. Like you kind of see something like out of the corner of your eye, like at the top of the stairs, and like you look and there's nothing there. So yeah.
And then of course you have where some people have actually felt him looking from the stairs. I felt him looking from his bedroom window. So that was I mean, I feel special. But I like to think that's a little special, a little bit special. But there was one person, she said you could actually feel him looking from like the banister of the stairs. And so she was like, it felt like, and it was creepier for some people, because this year they decided to put mannequins up. They're about the same size as them with his clothes on, just to kind of give an anniversary. But some people are like, one lady was like, it was not the mannequin, it was strictly him. And she's like, don't think I'm crazy. I'm like, believe me, I don't. I've had some encounters. I like, at this point I'm used to it now. I'm like, okay, Elvis, you're messing with me. Let's go. All right. I'm like, come on, little buddy, let's go.
Yeah, I would be like, it's time to go now.
But it's fun. Like, it's crazy in a way, but it's also funny. But that's how I am with, like, especially with it, is it's really funny to kind of have those different moments. Because I always tell you, like, he'll play tricks on you. He will play a good trick on you, like my Sharpie. Still mad about that. He returned it. He did in fact return the cinder, but not at the moment I needed.
He was supposed to have been a trickster when he was alive. So yeah.
I would very much I still have some questions as to how in the world did he take my keys out of my purse while the bag was zipped. I've got some questions. But no, it's like some of the things that you actually get to witness and see it's amazing. I think I do have a picture of the whole house, and there is another ghost in there, not anybody who lived there. I don't know if it was the daughter of like the original owners or one of the ghosts from the portal. But that's been pretty crazy. The only person I've heard there's like no activity is Vernon. It's like Vernon just never was there. But to be fair, you don't hear anything about him when he's alive. So like when you think about, we skip over Vernon easily, and it's one of those, it's funny, but it's also sad.
Right.
Because you're just like, okay, cool, Vernon. And you're like no one knows where that man actually slept in Graceland. Like, we've never asked, but
right. And plus, it may be one of those things that, the estate probably doesn't want us to really know, because, there are some kooky fans out there. There really are. It's more the older generation, I realize, than it is like people my age or your age. Because I know you're younger than me. But like the older generation, like my mom's generation, they got some kooky fans now.
I did.
It's kind of like, you know, and I'll give an example because we'll go back to like horror films and stuff. Like, you know, in Needful Things, you know, the one lady that has like the Elvis bust, that was like her needful thing. And you know what she's doing with that in that one scene. But yeah, you have some kooky fans out there that would still, hey, this is where he slept, and so and I hate to put that out there like that, but I mean, that's just a matter of fact. So
like I'm trying to think what one of the weird things the weirdest thing I saw at Graceland was a person sewing the blades of grass from his yard, as if it may not be the same grass growing in your yard. Because while I don't understand it. I can't even say no, I don't. It's grass.
Right. Well, my aunt, you know, back in the day when Elvis was still alive, my dad lived in Memphis, and my dad was a car salesman in Memphis. Elvis bought his cars and would get his cars detailed at the place that my dad worked, because he worked for like one of the biggest car dealers in Memphis. And there was one day that my aunt was down to visit. Well, they were happy to be detailing Elvis's car. And before they started to wash it, my aunt went and collected a dirt clod off the bottom of the car. And she kept this dirt clod in a jar. She's probably going to kill me for telling this story, but I don't care. She kept this dirt clod in this jar for years, and I think it's finally disintegrated into nothing now. So, I mean, because this was like mid-70s, you know, early to mid-70s when this was. So, but yeah, she kept this dirt clod off the bottom of Elvis's car just because it came off his car, just to show how kooky the older Elvis generation is. Yeah. And she kept it in this jar till it finally just disintegrated into nothing. So, or else my cousin poured it out.
But either way, the dirt has
either way, it's not there anymore. But
that's hilarious. I'm like, that is, because I'm trying to remember who else. I'm trying to remember like some other fun things that oh no, I met a lady who actually got one of the hotel keys and then chickened out to go upstairs to the suite in Vegas, and I was so mad at her. Like I was like, so you got the opportunity
and you didn't do it. Yeah.
Because you had ladies, I kissed Elvis. I did. And she's like, I got his room key. And I was like, did you use it? No. Out the conversation. I was like, you were cool until you said that.
Well, I actually know a lady personally that Elvis followed her home one night. Yeah. Wanting to ask her out on a date. She lives here in my hometown. Her name is, I'm not going to give her name because, you know, she may not want the story out all that much, but people around here know about it. But yeah, this is like before he was ever married to Priscilla. This was like a few years before Priscilla came along. But yeah, it was like late 50s, early 60s. Yeah, he followed her home and asked her out for a date, and she was like, I'm not interested.
I think I remember reading that somewhere, actually.
I will say her first name, Miss Sandra. And Miss Sandra is, I mean, she is still a gorgeous lady to this day. And I have seen pictures of her back then, and she was like, oh my God, why were you not in Hollywood as a model or an actress or something? Because you were like drop dead gorgeous. And she's still drop dead gorgeous as an older woman now. And it's like, I could believe that Elvis followed her home, you know?
But that's just funny, just like imagining him just following her home, like, sir. It's like, it's one of those like moments we probably sat there like, it's this? No, he's following me home. Great.
And she just told him, she's like, I'm not interested. She was like, but he was kind of like, well, I'm Elvis. And she was like, I don't care. You know? I don't want to go out with you.
I think that was like one of the funniest things was I got to meet his neighbor. Well, she was his backyard neighbor. She would sneak over her fence and her telephone pole. And she would sneak into his house and like eat snacks and whatnot when he wasn't there. And we're talking everything. And she looks at me and goes, if you were alive back in the 50s, she was like, I think I would have hung out with you more than the Memphis mob. I would have been a bit more girlier and Elvis would have married you. And I'm sitting here like, this is a compliment. And then I met one of the gate girls, which I guess for what she was to me is an honor. And she looks at me and goes, if you were alive back then, she was like, there would have been no Priscilla. Like he would have just married. And I'm just sitting here like, I am being told this by the women who knew him best. I am honored. And then it was funny meeting the daughter of Dixie Lott, who also basically said the same thing.
See, that's the ultimate compliment right there, especially from people that knew him personally. So, like my dad had met him a couple of times. Like my dad had like delivered his car and stuff to Graceland. And my dad likes to claim he's one of the few people that last saw Elvis alive before he passed away, because my dad was driving in Memphis, and my dad tells the story a lot funnier than what I probably will. And Elvis pulled up beside him like on his motorcycle and everything. And my dad was like, I was going to roll down the window and everything. Of course, they had the crank windows back then.
Yeah.
And he was like, and the crank just comes off in my hand. And he's like, so I'm sitting there going, damn it, like that. And of course, Elvis looks over and all he sees is me doing like this with the crank in my hand. And he just like, boom, takes off. And he was like, and then the next day Elvis was dead. So yeah. So my dad likes to claim that he's probably one of the last few people that saw Elvis alive. So yeah, because he was just going to roll down the window and be like, hey, Elvis, like that. And then the crank comes off in his hand.
I'm like, no. I'm like, it had to be one of the most funniest moments. Is like, you're just on you're just in your car, driving, and you look over, and they're like, oh, and like, I feel like after a while, I think people probably like kind of mellowed over it, but I feel like you do just kind of go, settle, get to Elvis at a stoplight.
Right.
And you're like, and you're like, stoplight, stop for him.
Right.
And it's just like, it's always just really funny of like how many people, of course, down there you meet his nurse. Tish is a sweetheart. She is so sweet. She gave me a pillow that she hand sewed, and then I bought one of her blankets. Actually, she makes throw blankets.
Oh wow,
she is hilarious. Oh my god. So she writes, there some of them are, not all of them, but I believe she, like, some of her books, she has like, they're kind of like Harlequin romance novel themed
right.
Elvis, which is hilarious because she was living. And it's like, you know what? I'm proud of you, because I'm like, because at least you have all facts. But she'll tell you they're more like siblings, and she'll tell you the story about how because she would stay. He's like, hey, your house, my house is your house. And she walked around in her towel one time because she had the shower, and they bumped into each other. He was like, hey, don't you think your husband needs to see that?
Oh my gosh.
And so she looked at her, she's like, well, you've been married, so you've already seen these parts before. He's like, yeah, but those are different parts.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up on that one because we're just about out of time.
I think that's a good start.
CeCe, thank you for joining me tonight on Swannie's Creepshow. I hope you have a blast at the Halloween party and it's a total success for you. Just kind of recap there, kind of give people the date and the time again.
So it is October 26th at Auburn, Georgia. The Whistle Stop Shops. It is from 10 to 2 p.m. It's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
All righty. So, well, you have a good rest of your evening, and I hope to have you again on the show sometime.
Most definitely.
So, all right. So in the meantime, stay creepy, creepsters.